Ladies and gentlemen, Bikini Kill.
Hey, hi, hello. This is Kathy Acker. She was an American writer, or something. Her work inspired the crap out of Kathleen Hanna. Who is Kathleen Hanna, you ask? Oh yeah, she's the front woman for Bikini Kill, Le Tigre, and the Julie Ruin. But not yet though. At this point, at the start of the 90s, Kathleen Hanna was just out there doing spoken word poetry or something. What do writers always feel? Insecure. What do insecure writers always do? Go to workshops. Kathleen didn't go to just any ordinary workshop though. Kathleen went to a Kathy Acker workshop. What did Kathy say to Kathleen? She said, "No one goes to spoken word shows, you know. If you want to be heard, you gotta start a band." This is the entire history of the 90s Riot Grrrl movement. Or whatever, I don't know. Likes and subs, let's go. 1990, Bikini Kill. Our story begins in Olympia, Washington. While in college, Kathleen Hanna is studying photography. Her and a bunch of artist friends start a feminist DIY art space. They call it Reco Muse. One thing you should know about Kathleen is that she loved reading fanzines. What's a fanzine, you say? Fanzines are DIY magazines that are handmade by the people, photocopied by the people, and distributed by the people to the people for the people. Basically, they were Tumblr before Tumblr, essentially. One zine in particular that Kathleen enjoyed was called Jigsaw, because it was all about feminism and punk rock. One thing you should know about fanzines is that they're just as important as music to this story. A girl named Toby Vale ran that Jigsaw zine that Kathleen loved so much. Toby had a friend named Kathy, not Kathleen. Totally different person. It's not confusing. Keep up. Toby asked Kathy if she could play guitar. Kathy said, "Nah, unfortunately, I don't know how to play guitar." So they started a punk rock band, naturally. Meanwhile, Kathleen Hanna was running around campus, having punk rock fashion shows in the library, and turning heads with the provocative art that she was creating. Her personality was massive. That massive personality led Toby and Kathy to ask Kathleen to sing for their newly formed band. She said yes, obviously. Bing bang boom, Bikini Kill is born. Girls to the front, let's go. Toby was dating Kurt Cobain before that big time fame thing happened to him. So this is the part of the video where I have to tell you that Kathleen and Kurt got so drunk one night that she spray painted "Kurt smells like teen spirit" on a wall somewhere. He may have used that line in a song or something. I don't know. 1991, Riot Grrrl. Bikini Kill moved to DC. The other Washington. They go there with Jen Smith and her band Bratmobile. They're determined to start a feminist punk scene, or art collective, or movement, or whatever. So they got a bunch of flyers and started passing them out. They organized a meeting through these efforts. That meeting took place at a DIY space called Positive Force in Washington, DC. Jen Smith of Bratmobile said there needs to be a girl riot. Toby from Bikini Kill was spelling girl with 3 R's in her zine as Angry Girls. Combine the two and Riot Grrrl was born. It started as a zine and morphed into an entire movement, and the message started to spread. More Riot Grrrl zines started popping up all across the country. So, what is the Riot Grrrl message, you might ask? Well, basically, it's to allow women in the same punk spaces as men to express their rage and anger. The dudes were expected to sing about that kind of stuff all the time, but when women did the exact same thing, they were judged for being overly emotional. Yeah, okay, buddy. The entire scene is overly emotional. So Kathleen and the gang set out to create safe, empowering spaces for women to express themselves. They wanted to teach girls how to play instruments and give them the courage to start their own bands. They valued fanzines as highly as the music. Spreading the message was what was important. Bikini Kill and the Riot Grrrls didn't just want a place at the shows, they wanted to start a revolution. That year, Bikini Kill would drop their Revolution Girl Style LP, and it went a little something like this. 1992, Riot Grrrl invades America. This is Fugazi, but you already know that. One time, they played at the country's capital with Bikini Kill. USA Today wrote all about it. What did USA Today say about the show? Well, nothing nice. Only rude things. What made it worse to Kathleen was that it was written by another woman. So that led Kathleen and the Riot Grrrls to avoid talking to the mainstream media altogether. We're not going to give them the satisfaction, Kathleen said with a pair of scissors in her hand. Probably. This rejection of mainstream media only made Kathleen and the Riot Grrrls more popular and influential. Oh, now's a good time as any for me to introduce you to Corin. Meet Corin Tucker. She went to college with Bikini Kill, and she also had a band. Her band was called Heavens to Betsy. Later in 1992, Heavens to Betsy gave the world their monumental self-titled cassette tape.
My secret is coming out.
This shit is hard as it pulls no punches. It tells you exactly who they're mad at and exactly what they want to happen. The only thing more raw than its subject matter is the lo-fi production holding it all together. This tape is a legitimate punk rock treasure. Their song, My Secret, is an inspiring anthem to survivors of abuse everywhere. This self-titled demo tape is more than just important. It's a missile. Or whatever. Okay, this is 7 Year Bitch. Their record Sick'em came out in October of '92. Shortly after its release, the band lost their guitarist Stephanie Sargent. After grieving, the band decided to continue with Roisin Dunn on guitar. Next, in '92, came Minnesota band Babes in Toyland with their album Fontanelle. They formed a little bit before the Riot Grrrl thing took off in 1987. Courtney Love is believed to have lied about being their bass player. In 2015, the band said that that's not true. They basically said Courtney lived with them, and one time she picked up a bass while they were practicing with a needle in her hand. Probably. While not a traditional Riot Grrrl band, sounding more like early grunge than anything else, Babes in Toyland helped elevate the Riot Grrrl movement with their experience and talent. Oh, and we're about to hear a little bit more from our good friend Courtney Love here in a little bit. Another not so Riot Grrrl but still super awesome all-girl punk band was called L7, and they came out with an LP called Bricks Are Heavy in 1992 as well. This thing's got riffs and riffs for days. While they also predate the Riot Grrrl thing by like 6 years or so, their influence and participation in the punk scene during the Riot Grrrl days only served to enrich the fabric of the movement that Kathleen and the gang set out to send. Kathleen had a way of galvanizing the women who were already there in the scene with the ones that wanted in on the action. L7, take it away. 1993, Riot Grrrl invades the UK. Back to Washington, D.C. for a little bit first. Slant 6 dropped the What Kind of Monster Are You 7-inch on Discord Records. Talk about badass punk rock music. Holy moly! After a bit of a deviation from true Riot Grrrl bands in this video, we're back on track. Slant 6 in rip. Okay, now let's talk about the UK scene for a sec. Great Britain, what would punk rock be without you? You gave us the Clash and the Pistols, but that was the 70s though, and I'm here to talk about the peak of human civilization, the 90s. The UK scene catches wind of the Riot Grrrl things going on. They get inspired and excited. Ladies and gentlemen, Huggy Bear has entered the chat. Huggy Bear is the band that is credited with being the kind of Bikini Kill of the UK. They preach the importance of zines and punk rock ethic. Like true warriors, they and Bikini Kill would do a split in 1993 called Yeah 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 Yeah. And that split would further spread the message of the Riot Grrrls to other girls in the scene.
When I walk into the post office, drop down some cat, 'cause I'm no novice.
There was a documentary made at the time by filmmaker Lucy Thane called It Changed My Life. In today's landscape, it would basically be a Neo-Punk FM video. It's one of those interviewing punks outside of a punk show type of things. In this documentary, you can feel the excitement and inspiration that these young ladies are experiencing.
Bikini Kill were excellent.
Yeah, right,
Brilliant. Fucking amazing.
There's a hope and empowerment that seems to be awakened within them.
Some friends together and like we're really into it. I mean, we know about it. We're not just students, but we've read all the books. We know.
One night after a show, 3 girls approached this mega powers of the Riot Grrrl scene. They told Kathleen that they also have a band. Kathleen asked them to be on their 93 UK tour. Just like that. That band was called Skinned Teen. Skinned Teen put out Karate Hairdresser and talk about not being able to play your instruments. But it's brilliant, it's original, it's abrasive, and doesn't give a f.
Skitty, skitty, yeah, yeah, yeah. Skitty, skitty, yeah, yeah, yeah. Music fast and so cool. Skitty, skitty.
The next 3 albums I'm gonna lay on your front door are the 3 most influential and important Riot Grrrl albums ever to be recorded. Bratmobile is a band that has been tied to Bikini Kill from the jump. They are as important to the creation and curation for building the foundation of the Riot Grrrl scene. I spoke earlier briefly about Jen Smith. Well, this is her band, and in 1993, they dropped the monumental Potty Mouth LP. 93 would be the year Bikini Kill would give us more material. They dropped an album called Whipped, and goddamn buddy, this is incredible. There was a reason they were the faces of Riot Grrrl. This is an A+, 10 out of 10 Mount Rushmore album. It's not even a stretch to call it the best Riot Grrrl album ever made. You may be familiar with the big song from it, Rebel Girl, roll it. While being labeled more as a comp, I see Taking the Rough with the Smooch by Huggy Bear as a touchstone from this era as well. But 1993 has a more relevant moment in mind for the band. That year they were playing their song Her Jazz on a British TV show called The Word. After they played, the show aired a segment about the Barbie twins.
Absolutely. We are. Yeah?
Yes, bimbos.
And during that segment, Henry Rollins, of all people, is just sitting there on the couch, as the girls from Huggy Bear are heard screaming off camera. Henry Rollins squirms as the host smirks as he throws to commercial. The band were not fans of the Barbie twins segment, and they made their voice heard loudly.
Has been Archie, yes we certainly will. Jackie Stallone dishes.
Security had them ejected, and the show claimed that one of the girls from the band bit one of the security guards on the way out. The band claims that this did not happen. Later, Melody Maker, a UK publication, put them on their cover and likened this incident to the Sex Pistols on Today. Very punk. 1994, a year of death and breakups. This is Carrie Brownstein. Her band Excuse 17 often played with Heavens to Betsy. Hailing from Olympia, Washington, they released the Excuse 17 LP. She struck up a friendship with Corin from Heavens to Betsy. They even dated for a bit. Then Heavens to Betsy dropped their biggest album called Calculated. Later that year, Heavens to Betsy broke up. Carrie and Corin started a side project called Sleater-Kinney. More on them in a little bit. Then, Slant 6 would hit us with their first LP called Soda Pop Ripoff. This rocks. They didn't break up yet. Skin Teen have the best title game in this scene. They followed up their amazingly titled Karate Hairdresser with their album Bazooka Smooth in 1994. It was a split with Raul, but I can't say the name of the Raul side on YouTube. Skin Teen have honed their skills. This is a much more tuneful batch of songs, while still being razor sharp punk rock. They also didn't break up yet.
You think you got soul, but I know you have to fake it. You're gonna be
You know who did break up though? Two of the big ones, two of the powerhouses. Both Huggy Bear and Bratmobile would drop banger albums, then dip. Huggy Bear gave us Weaponry Listens to Love, then broke up. Then Bratmobile gave us the Real Janelle EP. After that, they broke up on stage amid media scrutiny and the mounting pressures within the Riot Grrrl movement itself. The movement was starting to splinter off into a whole bunch of different sections, ranging from left wing all the way to ultra left wing. This caused tension and fighting within the community. It was starting to turn into the thing it set out to change. And then to make this year even more heavy, 7 Year Bitch lost their friend and mentor, Mia Zapata, of the band The Gits in 1993. 7 Year Bitch are only a couple years into their career and they're already marred by trauma and loss. In 1994, they released an album in tribute to Mia called Viva Zapata. 1995, things are changing. Kathleen Hanna meets Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys at Somersault Tour in Australia. They carry out a secret romantic relationship for years and eventually get married in 2005. On July 4th of 1995, another Courtney Love situation would take place. According to Kathleen, she was side stage for Courtney's band Hole as they played that year's Lollapalooza when Courtney just walked over while performing and attacked her. This got mainstream coverage, and a lot of it. This is a drama that is still spoken about to this day. Bikini Kill, Nirvana, and Hole are cosmically and comically linked for all time. The end of the Riot Grrrl movement starts to become a reality, but it's not going down without a fight. Excuse 17 and Slant 6 would break up this year right after they gave us a record apiece. That freed up Corin and Carrie to focus on Sleater-Kinney. They released their debut self-titled record that year and it ruled. Babes in Toyland would drop Nemesisters, but it came out at the end of the grunge era to mixed reviews. A little later, they too would break up. In 1996, Kathleen moves back to Olympia. Bikini Kill later give us Reject All American. The album rips, but the band is in total disarray. It is said at this time they couldn't agree on anything. They couldn't even look each other in the eye. It was getting tense, and even Bikini Kill was on life support. Thank God for Sleater-Kinney though. The next 2 years would be great for them as Riot Grrrl collapses all around them. First, they give us an album called Call the Doctor. And in 1997, they would drop their highly acclaimed album called Dig Me Out. Out of all the drama in the Riot Grrrl scene at the end, it's a beautiful thing to see that Sleater-Kinney have found their own path through the muck. By the time it was all said and done, Sleater-Kinney felt like the last band standing.
The name of your band, is it Slater or Sleater?
Slater.
It's Sleater-Kinney, okay. So I've basically what you've just informed me is I've been saying for nearly 20 years the name of your band wrong. Sorry about that.
Well, no, but see, we accept any pronunciation.
1997 was the coup de grace. Bikini Kill got so big and the pressures of leadership, fame, and responsibility all began to weigh heavily on Kathleen. It was time to move on. The fall of the Titans. It really was the end, and the breakup of Bikini Kill would be the silver bullet shot through the community. What burns brightest, burns out fastest. Bikini Kill breaks up. In 1998, Kathleen records music under the name Julie Ruin, and in 1999, she starts the electronic dance band you may have heard of called Le Tigre. Kathleen's story never really ends. She keeps creating. She's still creating to this day. The Riot Grrrl scene of the 90s may have fizzled out into a dramatic nightmare, but different iterations of it have persisted through the years and it continues to this day. In conclusion, Kathleen's message never went away. Even without her, the heart and energy kept finding its way back into the scene. Every strong woman in punk gets inevitably compared to her. She represents something bigger than herself, bigger than punk itself, and what she represents can never be killed. She gave millions of people a reason to fight and the battle plan to carry it out. Thank you, Kathleen, and thank you everyone for watching.